Season 17 of Sea of Thieves isn't as bad as you think, and here's why. Let's go back to the launch of Season 17. Everyone is, quite frankly, tired of the lackluster Season 16. The trailer for Season 17 dropped a few weeks back, and everyone is like, why would they add smugglers to a pirate game? And to be fair, that is a great point. We're pirates. We're smuggling treasure anyway. But regardless of that, hype is at an all-time low. You'd be pressed to find someone excited. I was excited, but I'm definitely in the minority there. Then August 14th rolls around, the servers go live, we all launch into the game to find reskinned merchant runs. Arguably the most boring content in the game was added to the game again. But they added a bunch of new NPCs to the game, all of which were fully voice acted. That's really cool, and honestly, pretty exciting for the future of the game. Voice acting is expensive, and in my humble opinion, putting voice acting into the game for every new NPC is a huge show of commitment to the future of Sea of Thieves. Why pour a huge amount of money into a game that might not have a future, you know? Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Act 1 was a huge disappointment. They added reskin merchant runs, they removed Reaper chests and bounties from the Fort of the Damned, they replaced shipwrecks with smuggler shipwrecks. I played a lot of Act 1, but the people I normally played with had very little interest in playing Act 1. But I forced them to anyway. Then Act 2 rolled around. Act 2 was fine. I don't really have all that much to say about Act 2. It was probably the act I played the least of in Season 17. Flameheart had taken over Royal Crest Fortress and was hoarding paintings of himself there for some reason. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable lore reason he was doing this, but my man was just hoarding paintings of himself and his ship in this fort that he had just taken over. What a weirdo. The player was tasked by the aforementioned Smugglers League to go to Flameheart's newly owned house and steal his painting for the smuggler's mysterious patron. Gee, I wonder who that might be. The target painting was worth a huge amount of gold that you're never gonna spend, but the PvP was pretty great. It was the centerpiece of the act. The idea was to have the majority of the server doing this one quest and to fight over the fort. It was great when it worked, but most of the time it didn't work out that way. People just didn't do it all that often. And I can see why. There was only a few commendations tied to the central pillar of Act 2. This is a good time to talk about the new season screen. So in previous Sea of Thieves seasons, you were given an open sandbox and a bunch of commendations. But with the dawn of Season 17, Rare cooked up something pretty cool. The season screen. This is a menu in your tab menus that tells you what there is to do in a season and specific act, with deeds saying, do this X amount of times and you'll get a reward. This is a really cool system that is being expanded upon in Season 18, which we will talk about soon. But with the Act 2 deeds, the rewards were pretty bad. You really only had to do the fort heist maybe once or twice to get all the cosmetics, and to call them cosmetics is a huge understatement. I like ship trinkets. I think they tell a story of what your pirate has done, but to call them cosmetics, while correct, is a little misleading. Ship trinkets shouldn't be the main reward for completing season deeds. My ship is basically an attic where I put all my junk that no one will ever see. It's nice to look at for a little while, but that's about it. Give us worthwhile pirate cosmetics, weapon skins, jackets, masks, hair. Give me cool hair dye, please. So far, you'd be forgiven for thinking I dislike Season 17. And to be fair, I haven't had much good to say about it so far. However, we're about to talk about Act 3. And boy oh boy did Rare cook with Act 3. With Act 3, they added a new world event to the seas, the Reaper Fort, a new type of skeleton fort akin to the Fort of Fortune or Fort of the Damned. But this one is different. It has black skeletons, as well as skeletons of the bone and blade, spooky ghosts that will fight the skeletons, and ghost galleons that I have aptly named Gullions. The Gullions will circle around the island, firing their cannons at the island, laying waste to all that are fighting over the fort. This in itself is extremely cool. It shows that factions in the game, the Dark Brethren and Flameheart, are fighting a war against each other. Then when the players get involved, things get dialed up to 11. I've had games where the whole server are fighting over this one world event, and things can get intense super fast, with the rowboat kegs and the black powder kegs spawning extremely often on these islands. It's some of the most fun I've had in Sea of Thieves in a very, very long time. On top of the Reaper forts being added, they added a really cool new ship set, the Brethren's Masquerade ship set, and wowee is it a good one. You get the full set by completing 20 Reaper forts. 20 might sound like a lot, but look at those sails, look at those cannons, it's just mwah, chef's kiss. They also added a bunch more lore in Act 3, and I'm a lore boyo, and Sea of Thieves lore is really good, but that's probably a whole other video. If you complete all of Act 1's smuggler commendations, you know the ones where you have to pick up a bunch of paintings and rum crates and read a bunch of shit manifests and Sorry, I'm awake. Once you do all of that, you unlock the Smuggler's Cosmetics, the Super Smuggler title, and the Smuggler's Ship Trinkets. If you buy them all and equip all the cosmetics, including the title, scar, and tattoo, you can go and talk to Lottie on Crescent Isle to get a short quest to reveal who the Smugglers League secretive and very not obvious client is. Season 17 also seen the dawn of the FOV changes. Sea of Thieves since launch has had a very restrictive FOV, with it being capped at 90. All that has changed now, however, as the cap has been up to 110. Not only that though, each individual action has its own FOV slider. The cannons have its own FOV slider. The ladder has its own FOV slider. The sails have its own FOV slider. The harpoon gun has its own FOV slider. The harpoon gun of all things. This has added a new layer of player customization to Sea of Thieves, and that's really cool, and it's sorely been needed for a very long time. Big ups to Rare for this one, they nailed it. Now lads, we need to talk about how much of a banger the opening music is. Rare never slips on the music for this game. It's so good. So this begs the question, why does the player base at large dislike Season 17? And I think the answer is a very obvious one. Act 1. Season 17 launched with very little new content to do. One voyage and a bunch of boring commendations. That is what the casual Sea of Thieves player was greeted with when they launched the game for the first time at the start of Season 17. That will always leave a sour taste in someone's mouth, and I completely understand why. Act 2 and 3 were varying ranges of banger, but Act 1, the act that most people would have played, was severely lacking. Rare have invested a bunch of resources into a new release cadence for seasons. This has basically been the release structure since Season 15, with new content being released each month, giving the player base something to look forward to, which is a very good thing. But both Seasons 15 and 16 had their seasons' content stretched out to fit a monthly release schedule, whereas I believe Season 17's content was designed for a monthly release schedule, and to be fair, it does show in Act 2 and 3. I think that if Season 17 launched with all 3 acts, it would have been much lesser for it. But your first act needs to be a sucker punch. Falcon punch me with content, Rare. It needs to have a hook that isn't reskinned merchants. This is why I'm so excited for Season 18. I won't spoil too much because I would like to make a video about Season 18 at some point, but what I have played of it on Insiders, which you should 100% join, it's really fun. The art direction is on point. The new boss is fun, albeit a little bit repetitive. And while the loot isn't anything to write home about, it will still give you gold that you don't really need. The actual design of the new loot is so extremely cool. I understand that not everyone will care about small things like art design, but man, the new loot is so cool. By the way, Rare, please add amethyst mermaid gems. I think it will fit Season 18's aesthetic extremely well. So, you know, just add them, please. Please. Anyway. This incoherent gibberish is why I think Season 17 of Sea of Thieves is actually really good. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is my first time doing a scripted video like this, so if you enjoyed it, maybe leave a like and subscribe. I really enjoyed doing this, so I hope I can do more like this in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.